Voters do not agree with these despicable women on The View. They are wildly out of touch with the vast majority of Americans, and frankly, they should seek immediate help.
And this is why, of course, she's on The View and not working for the most powerful man in the world, because Karoline would wipe the floor with you bitter banshees any day.
Joe Biden knows how to do this.
Yes.
He knows how to do this. He's quite good at this. And you know, you can't refute anything with him because he just, when I say him, I mean...
He rambles.
Trump.
Yeah.
He tends to just...
So a few days ago we brought you the epic verbal showdown between the new White House press secretary Karoline Leavitt and Whoopi Goldberg. But what we failed to show you due to time constraints were the details of the encounter and the epic reactions. So brace yourselves because what you're about to watch next will shock you. In the meantime, remember to subscribe to this channel if you don't want to miss epic moments like this.
I too am a working mom and always have been. I've been a professional woman since I graduated from college or law school. But now there's, I think, a good thing, which is like the restoration of valuing so-called traditional, moms, and that's great. The women who take care of their kids full time. Most of my best friends are doing exactly that. But it seems like in the right, there's like a bit of a shift toward like, you can't do what Karoline's doing. That's actually like an unsafe or a dangerous or a bad choice for families, for children, which I reject wholesale, but you hear it more and more.
Yeah.
Do you hear that?
Right off the bat, the woke mob did what the woke mob does best. Lose their minds and try to mom shame her. Because apparently if you dare to outweet the self-proclaimed queen of woke Whoopi Goldberg, her minions will descend like Twitter trolls on a trending hashtag. And with the woke brigade, nothing, and I mean nothing, is off limits. Not your arguments, not your character, and certainly not your family. So, what was their brilliant comeback after Leavitt verbally suplexed Goldberg on national TV? Did they challenge her facts? Her professionalism? Nope. They went full 1950s and asked, why is a mother of a 7-month-old even working? Yes, folks, the same crowd that screams women can do it all suddenly hit pause and decided that this particular working mom was out of line. Apparently, if you embarrass a daytime talk show host, you're supposed to go home, bake cookies, and think about what you've done. Hypocrisy through the roof. Self-awareness? Somewhere in a witness protection program.
I would reject that it's a bad choice. Is it a tough choice? Absolutely. You know, as a mother, you want to be with your child 24/7. You have that maternal instinct.
27.
Yeah. Not all the time. Well, right now, yes, because he's 7 months and just squishy and lovable, but I'm sure that will change. No, but you know, you do have that maternal instinct, but also recognizing, like, I'm doing this work for my son and for all children to make this country better. And it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Yes. It's also it's temporary, right? In 4 years, my son will be 4 years old and the president will no longer be at the White House. And then I'll move on and do something else. But, you know, this chaos of 24/7 work is a temporary matter. And that's what at least I tell myself to get through these very long and hard days. But I would reject that you can't be a good mom and be good at your job. I think you can do both. It certainly it's not for everybody. And it takes a lot of work and will and faith and prayer. And it's hard, but it can be done. And, you know, I would reject that.
And just like that, Karoline Leavitt effortlessly obliterates the woke outrage. Like swatting away a fly with a sledgehammer. She calmly explains what should be common sense. It is possible to balance motherhood and a career without sacrificing one for the other. Groundbreaking, right? Someone alert the think tanks. But here's where Leavitt really flips the script. She unapologetically embraces traditional values, acknowledging that juggling work and raising a child is tough. And it's not for every woman. Shocking, I know. A woman daring to say, hey, my lifestyle isn't one size fits all. Unlike the left's you can have it all or you failed feminism mantra, Leavitt takes a more mature approach. She graciously points out that women who choose full-time motherhood deserve respect, not condescension. Because, believe it or not, nurturing the next generation is just as valuable as climbing the corporate ladder. In the end, Leavitt doesn't just win the argument. She exposes the left's hypocrisy for what it is. Performative empowerment with a side of mom shaming. But if you thought the left couldn't get any worse, they surprise you with a new low. Conspiracy theories.
Gotta ask you, because they said it, are you aware of any plots from Elon Musk to push President Trump down the stairs?
Absolutely not. Let me be unequivocally clear about that. And watching this clip, I couldn't help but think how ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists. But they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple of years. They likened President Trump to Hitler. They have mocked him. They have shamed him. They have lied about him consistently on their show. And it was a joy to watch them on November the 6th when they realized that tens of millions of Americans do not listen to the lies that they have spewed. These women are completely out of touch with reality.
Yes, you heard that right. The left, the self-proclaimed champions of facts, evidence and logic, have officially traded their science is real yard signs for tinfoil hats. They've sunk to the level of low-budget conspiracy theorists you'd expect to find ranting on a street corner with a cardboard sign. And their latest mind-blowing theory. Brace yourself for this one. Apparently Elon Musk, the guy busy launching rockets and revolutionizing transportation, has secretly hatched a plot to take down Trump. By pushing him down the stairs. Yes. Really. Because nothing screams billionaire master plan like schoolyard tactics. And who's leading this intellectual charge? None other than The View's finest. The daytime talk show harpies who've somehow convinced themselves they're running a congressional committee from their coffee table. Why? Because Leavitt destroyed their queen bee and they wanted their pound of flesh. So what better person to target than Leavitt's boss, Donald Trump, and his friend Elon Musk? It's like watching satire write itself. But Karoline Leavitt wasn't about to let that nonsense slide. She fired back with some choice words that didn't just debunk the lunacy but left the conspiracy crowd scrambling for their next half-baked theory.
A lot of women are preparing themselves for the impact of the incoming administration, which has led to this growing mantra from male right-wing incels. Your body, my choice. Say that to my face.
Never one to back down easily, Whoopi Goldberg mustered the courage to take another swing at Karoline Leavitt. Albeit indirectly, of course, because even she knows the kind of verbal obliteration that awaits anyone foolish enough to challenge Leavitt head-on. Instead of confronting Leavitt directly, Goldberg took the coward's route. She set her sights on Trump, and that's when she did the unthinkable. Right there on national television, Goldberg spat after uttering Trump's name, like a cartoon villain who just tasted defeat. Classy, right? Because nothing says intellectual rebuttal like spitting on cue. Well, Leavitt didn't let that one slide. She fired back with the precision of a surgeon and the force of a freight train. This is what passes for debate now? Leavitt scoffed. When you can't win on facts, you resort to playground antics. Imagine being so triggered by one man's name that you start spitting like a toddler refusing broccoli. It's embarrassing. No wonder daytime TV ratings are in free fall. And she didn't stop there. Leavitt called out the hypocrisy loud and clear. These are the same people preaching about civility and respect, yet here they are turning ABC into a slapstick comedy show. By the time Leavitt was done, Goldberg's bold statement looked less like defiance and more like desperation. The internet agreed. Memes flooded in faster than The View's producers could hit the commercial break. Many who followed the heated exchange between Leavitt and Goldberg threw their weight behind the White House press secretary. One user wrote on social media, "These women are going to have to hide at some point. I wouldn't feel comfortable walking down the street if I were any of them." Others pointed out that Whoopi had spat on the face of all Americans who voted for Trump. One comment read, literally, she spat on the face of Trump supporters, which is half the American people. Some also thought Whoopi's antics were just part of some elaborate act to get more views on the show. "I'm convinced they pay her extra to act foolish," one user wrote.
You must have really wrestled with how you were going to meet the high bar set by Karine Jean-Pierre. Was that... Sorry. Was that out loud? No, she was terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how has your approach differed, would you say?
I think it's vastly different. And if you ask people, even in the legacy media, even the Trump haters, they will tell you the approach has been much different. Not just for me, but the entire White House. Oh, absolutely. They come in my office every day and they'll admit that off the record. Oh. Maybe not on the record, but they will say they appreciate the access and the transparency and the preparation that goes into my briefings, and everybody on our team, by the way, who goes out to the cameras and speaks. We have great policy experts who are great spokespeople for the president.
Now, I'll admit I'm digressing a bit here, But did Karoline Leavitt just expose the legacy media and Trump haters in one fell swoop? Because this part is gold. Think about it. These are the same people who've pounced on Leavitt every chance they get. From questioning her credentials to mom-shaming her, the woke journalists have practically made it their side hustle to drag her at every turn. If Leavitt breathes wrong, there's an op-ed about it within the hour. But here's where it gets interesting. Off camera, away from their performative outrage and blue checkmark bravado, these very same critics are reportedly sneaking into Leavitt's office to congratulate her. Yes, you heard that right. Privately thanking her for the media access they couldn't get under Biden's press team. Oh, let's get this straight. Publicly, they're painting her as some right-wing villain. Privately, they're all smiles and handshakes, whispering, "Thanks for actually doing your job." You can't make this stuff up. But honestly, should anyone be surprised? Hypocrisy has practically become a job requirement on the left. It's not just The View, it's the whole media ecosystem, pretending to fight the dragon while secretly feeding it scraps under the table. And Leavitt? She's just standing there, receipts in hand, watching the whole charade unravel.
To an IG report from the Social Security Administration, there was $71 billion worth of fraud in one single fiscal year that we know about. And so that is a lot of fraud, Peter.
To be clear, that $71 billion was from 2015 to 2022, so it wasn't in just 1 year. And it was
$71 billion.
But it wasn't in 1 year, just over multiple years from 2015 to 2022.
So are you defending $71 billion in fraud, Peter? That's a lot of money. Why is the media so against cutting waste, fraud, and abuse from the government? I don't get it.
I just want to ask a question.
We won't be deterred. We will not be deterred.
And there it is. Exactly what I've been talking about. Fresh off her verbal smackdown with Whoopi Goldberg, Karoline Leavitt barely has time to catch her breath before another woke journalist swoops in, ready to set the record straight. Was this journalist concerned about the actual issue Leavitt had just exposed? You know, the glaring fraud sitting there like a neon sign. Of course not. That would require critical thinking, and we can't have that. Instead, they zeroed in on correcting Leavitt like a hall monitor drunk on power. It's almost like these people attend the same training camp. Step 1. Ignore the scandal. Step 2. Attack the whistleblower. Step 3. Pat yourself on the back for saving democracy. Leavitt, being Leavitt, didn't just roll over. She fired back with the kind of calm, cutting precision that turns internet clips into viral gold. "Oh, I'm sorry," she quipped. "I didn't realize exposing corruption was less important than satisfying your fact-checking fetish." And the best part? The journalist, clearly flustered, doubled down. Because when you're losing, why not dig a deeper hole? They kept pressing, nitpicking words while completely ignoring the elephant tap dancing in the room. By the time Leavitt was done, it wasn't just a debate. It was a demolition. The journalist walked away looking less like a truth seeker and more like an unpaid PR rep for the very fraud Leavitt exposed. This left me wondering, exactly how does Leavitt prepare to face the press? Because she seems to have her finger on the pulse of almost every issue. Take a listen.
How do you prepare? Because you can't know everything, and you could get asked anything. And unlike Karine Jean-Pierre, you're not out there reading and furiously flipping through your tabs to try to find an answer somebody else has written for you.
Yeah.
So how are you preparing?
So I did prepare a binder for the first briefing. My great assistant, Keegan, put it together. And then I showed up to work, and it was like this thick. And I was like, I can't even move this. I can't use this. It was too cumbersome for my brain and the way I learn and think and study to have that. It felt like added weight. And I said, I want to just go in there and speak from my mind and from my heart.
Like your boss.
Like my boss. And I've been working for my boss now on the campaign. I know the policies we're enacting. We've been talking about them for years. And in school, I was that way. Like studying, I would just read, highlight, memorize, articulate.
And then it goes off to the side.
Yeah.
And you talk.
Exactly.
And that right there explains the secret behind Karoline Leavitt's lightning-fast answers and devastating clapbacks. She's not reading from a script or running her words through a woke-approved filter. She speaks from the heart, plain and simple. Unlike her woke counterparts, who need a focus group, a PR consultant, and a thesaurus to craft the perfect inclusive yet outraged soundbite, Leavitt skips the theatrics. No hypocrisy. No obfuscation. Just pure, unfiltered reality, the kind that hits harder than their recycled talking points. While the left is busy running mental gymnastics to avoid offending their own echo chamber, Leavitt is out here saying what everyone else is thinking. And the best part? She doesn't just talk the talk, she backs it up with facts, receipts, and the kind of confidence that leaves her critics blinking like deer in headlights. It's almost unfair. While the woke brigade is busy crafting the perfect insult thread on X, formerly Twitter for those still pretending it's 2016, Leavitt's already 5 steps ahead, dismantling their arguments before they even hit post. In a world drowning in virtue signaling and performative outrage, Leavitt's authenticity isn't just refreshing. It's dangerous for those whose entire platform relies on smoke, mirrors, and selective outrage. To hear Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg reduce such an obviously intelligent and talented woman to her looks. It's disingenuous and disheartening.
Looks is disingenuous and disheartening.
I think she's probably been put in there because according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though, it's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the pre.
It's starting to look like the ladies on The View aren't just offended by Karoline Leavitt. They're jealous. Jealous of her intelligence, her composure, and, of course, her meteoric rise to fame. Because let's face it, Leavitt has climbed higher in a few years than they have after decades of shouting into the void. And when jealousy kicks in, logic checks out. So what's their strategy? Simple. Say anything, no matter how ridiculous, petty, or downright hypocritical, just to tear her down. It's like watching High School Mean Girls, but with worse takes and a bigger production budget. They can't attack her record because it's solid. They can't challenge her arguments because she dismantles them like a pro. So they resort to the last trick in the woke playbook, character assassination. Oh, she's only successful because of Trump, they whine, conveniently ignoring the fact that Leavitt was making waves long before she ever stepped into the White House press room. She's abandoning her baby for her career. They cry as if they'd ever dare say the same about a liberal mom juggling work and home life. It's laughable. The more they flail, the more obvious it becomes. This isn't about politics anymore. It's about envy. Leavitt is winning the culture war by simply existing, and the more successful she gets, the louder the tantrums become. No one makes this clearer than Michael Knowles.
A very nice looking lady, but it isn't true that that's why she got the job. She got the job because she was the national spokesman for the campaign, and she did a very good job in that role. And the campaign was hugely successful and communicated very effectively. That is why she got the job. Even if Karoline Leavitt weren't a pretty lady, even if she were a male, gremlin, monstrous-looking fellow, she still would have gotten the job based on how effective the campaign communications was. Furthermore, Karoline Leavitt ran for Congress. I was talking to Roger Stone about this when we were trying to figure out who the picks for the administration were going to be. He said, I think Leavitt's going to get the White House press sec job. I think she earned the job, and I like that she has been in the fire. She's run for office.
Karoline Leavitt isn't just running circles around the woke crowd because she's smart. Though by the way, she clearly is. It's not just book smarts or clever one-liners. This woman has experience. Remember her congressional run? Yeah, she didn't just participate like some symbolic Gen Z candidate there to rack up retweets. She won the Republican primary, steamrolling her opponents like a freight train with no brakes. Among those left in the dust? Matt Mowers, a former Trump administration official who was supposed to be the frontrunner. Spoiler alert, he wasn't. And while Leavitt ultimately lost to the Democrat incumbent Chris Pappas, it wasn't some landslide embarrassment. She gave the establishment a serious scare, proving she wasn't just another talking head. She was a fighter. That campaign wasn't just a line on her resume. It was a crash course in real-world politics. The kind woke pundits pretend to understand while sipping lattes and crafting their next fact-check. So when Leavitt steps up to the podium and fires off those quick, cutting responses, it's not just youthful confidence. It's the sharpened skill of someone who's been in the trenches, taken hits, and come out tougher. No wonder the left can't stand her. She's everything they claim to champion, but secretly fear. Smart. Resilient. Actually effective.
After the cackling witch herself, Joy Behar from The View, whose jealousy is something to behold. Here is her assessment of Trump's new White House press secretary, Karoline Leavitt.
I think she's probably been put in there because according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though, it's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
The ever-empowering feminist, Joy herself, everyone. And this is why, of course, she's on The View and not working for the most powerful powerful man in the world, because Karoline would wipe the floor with you bitter banshees any day.
Yep. As we've already pointed out, the ladies on The View aren't just annoyed by Karoline Leavitt, they're jealous. And who could blame them? While they sit on daytime TV recycling the same tired talking points and trash talking, Leavitt is out here working for the most powerful man on earth. Let that sink in. They're complaining from a cushy studio couch while Leavitt is shaping narratives from inside the White House. It's not just a difference in job titles. It's a difference in relevance. And here's the kicker. They know they can't match her intellect, composure, or political acumen. That's why every time they dare to face off with her, it ends the same way. Leavitt wiping the floor with them, armed with nothing but facts and a killer smile. Whoopi and her crew throw tantrums. Leavitt throws receipts. They peddle outrage. She drops truth bombs. That it's like watching a professional fighter spar with armchair critics. The jealousy isn't just obvious. It's palpable. Because deep down they know that if they ever had to trade places with Leavitt, they wouldn't last 5 minutes in her shoes.
CNN guy, Jim Acosta? Oh wait, he's not on CNN anymore. That's right. He was like, it was just so, I would say, you don't mind the aggressive questions, you take the aggressive questions, but it was just always to the point that it was like, how do you destroy Donald Trump? How do you destroy the individuals of staff? It was so, when they do say Trump derangement syndrome, and I do think that there's also Elon Musk derangement syndrome happening too with the media, because they don't know how to handle it. How do you view that differently from the first administration till now? Because it was a lot of dealing with Russian hoax at the beginning, special counsels. It was constant because the media was trying so hard to, and they never apologized, right? They didn't apologize about the Russian hoax. Yeah, that's right, they didn't. So this time around, it's a very different strategy that you all are taking forward. What is that strategy?
Well, first of all, since you brought up Jim Acosta, he's been saying some not so nice things about me online, and I've resisted responding, but since you brought him up, I'd like to say,
let's go.
Jim, at least I have a job, Jim, okay? Just saying.
Another scathing clapback from the undisputed queen of clapbacks herself, Karoline Leavitt. At this point, it's like watching a professional chef school someone who just learned how to boil water. And this right here explains why Whoopi Goldberg wouldn't dare step into a real face-off with Leavitt. That it's not just about losing, it's about getting obliterated in front of millions. Whoopi might be loud, but volume doesn't equal victory. Leavitt plays chess while Goldberg plays checkers, with missing pieces. Every insult Whoopi throws gets boomeranged right back, but sharper and with a side of bless your heart. Deep down, Whoopi knows the truth. She can grandstand all she wants from the safety of The View's echo chamber, but in a real debate, it would be a knockout before the first commercial break. And on that note, we draw the curtains on today's episode. And if you loved our sharp take on trending political news, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more interesting videos. Thanks for watching.